Oh, wait a second. I thought you were going to be in a vehicle, a moving vehicle. Did you stop? Did you cancel plans for me?
I did. No, we got back with our meeting pretty quick, so I was pumped. I told him and said, "Hey, I got a hard stop at 10:30." So we got back a few minutes ago, and just enough time to come in replacement for our good friend Mr. Garcia.
Well, because you're doing that, I'm going to send some of my nuts in the mail to you. GameDayNuts.net. They're the best boiled peanuts you could ever eat. Okay.
Beautiful. I'm in.
You wondered what you're like, what? Whoa, 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 whoa.
I was like, whoa.
We're having another baby. We need diapers, Jamie, not nuts.
Leave your nuts out of this, man.
The tagline, by the way, for them, one of their great taglines. I thought "Go Nuts on Game Day" was good. I was wrong. Never miss a touchdown fumbling with your nuts. That's why these things don't have shells on them. They're the best tasting boiled peanuts on the planet. So I got to get you a bag, and then you'll be hooked, and you'll order them delivered to your house every month. I mean, they're incredible. So, all right, Rob, you've probably never met Perry, have you? So
I don't know. I don't think I have. I've
Rob.
stood in the student section and watched him score touchdowns, but I haven't met him now.
Yeah, well, that's Perry, one of the most fleet-footed quarterbacks in the history of the program.
No doubt.
And now he is one of the best guys in the insurance industry you could possibly find. MoultrieInsurance.com. We'll let Perry tell you more about that coming up here in just a bit. The long-haired, bearded fellow that he was referencing will be in Perry's spot tomorrow at 11 o'clock from somewhere. Close optional. You know the drill. All right. Clothes and sobriety are optional when it comes to Steven Garcia and being live on the air. All right, Perry, we're about to get this thing going. Let's talk ball, dude. Enough with the all-season stuff. You had a chance in the spring to see Rasool Faison run a little bit here and there. What did you – now he's eligible, as we well know. They were expecting the eligibility. They got it on Monday, as we know. Shane will talk about that a little bit more today at 1 o'clock in this press conference. But with what what an SEC running back looks like, what did you see out of Rasool Faison? What does that mean to this offense now that he can play ball?
Yeah, I think it's no slight to the other guys, but it's a true number one back. He's got the speed and the strength, and just physically, he passes the eye test. He's somebody that we can count on to deliver carries. But I think adding him, obviously, and bringing him into the lineup, it provides that additional hat, right? So, I mean, we all know how much running backs get beat up throughout the course of the season, and losing a guy of that caliber who had a hell of a year last year would have been of detriment. And getting him approved, I think the NCAA did the right thing. He's got a nice blend of power and speed, but for his size, his side-to-side quickness is huge at the running back position. I like guys that in small spaces can make people miss or at least break tackles. I don't know if he has the elite top end speed, but from a running back and the way that we use people to run the football, that's that's not exactly something that we necessarily have to have. But he provides incredible depth. He brings extra depth, and then some of the folks like Oscar Attaway that come in behind him and will be in the rotation. They're with a healthy room, we are going to have fresh legs to do everything that we want to do in the run game.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Isaiah Augusto, Juwan Holloway, Matthew Fuller. I mean, these guys are all going to play on Sunday, as we well know, and I'm with you. I think this is RB1 until he's not. All right, let's shift that to the offense here. What do you expect from them early in the game? I'm not really fishing for, I expect them to go 3 for 3 with 3 touchdowns. This is the first year Mike Shula calling the plays, first year, not first game, for Lenore Sellers. You got some new faces in there up front, obviously, et cetera, right, Perry? So,
yep.
What do you think the game plan is more what I'm after here?
Well, my aspiration, and I might sound like a broken record on your show for everybody that's listened to me consistently. I think game one, let's establish the run game, but also give Lenore short passes to get his confidence up and in early into the game. I don't care if you have Tom Brady at quarterback. I think that's a winning proposition. I'll be intrigued to see how often they run Lenoris. If you remember back last year, I think he had 22, 24 carries, somewhere in that range, which is just egregious and over the top. But that ended up working out well, and they found a good rhythm. Dow did a phenomenal job with he and then the development as the season went along with Lenoris. But we're rolling out some folks that we haven't. Let's do some. We've got freshmen on the perimeter and some guys that have played last year that can contribute quickly. I think the development of Nick Harbor will be super helpful. I think that, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Kid from Greenville,
Mazio Bennett.
Mazio Bennett. Mazio Bennett is going to take the next step too. So, those are the kind of players that I think that can really take our offense to the next level, to give Lenoris another outlet to get the ball to, take pressure just simply off of the running back having to come in and be the portal guy that's the superstar that comes in and takes the room to the next level. But it's going to be a talent by committee featuring, obviously, number 16.
It's wide open Wednesday, and Rooster has an interesting take in opposition to that, Perry, in the chat box, that Shula's going to come out in 12 personnel and pound it, and that's why we don't have JB the depth chart, because they don't have 3 starting wide receivers and don't want to give away the game plan.
Yeah, I don't know about the personnel. Let Perry talk on that. I don't think that's the depth chart reasoning, Perry. He didn't give us a depth chart yesterday. I don't know if we'll get one, but I think JC's got a really good point. And the fact that there's a lot of sliminess going on in the agent world. They scour these depth charts. So they reach out to these dudes and they say, I could have you starting at this school. You're third over there. I think Shane Beamer's he's referenced that in the past too, by the way. I think he's had enough of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that, it's important, and the poker game that coaches have to play now is insane, by the way. But, I don't know who we have from a tight end room overall, and that this is just a lack of oversight on my part. But, going in 12 personnel, for everybody that doesn't know what that is, that's 1 back, 2 tight ends. And so lining up in 12 personnel and pounding the rock, is that something that they want to do, or are they going to put Lenoris in a situation to excel in the offense that gives him the best chance to succeed and play at a high level? I don't know if that's getting in 12 personnel and doing that. I really don't know. This has probably been, for me personally, the least amount of know or in the know of what we're going to do when we roll out their game one. But I'm excited. I think that they've got good players. It goes without saying. They've got experienced players. You've got, one of, if not the best quarterback in the country leading the team. Big thing is, I talked about it last week on the show, we've got to take care of the football, especially in game one. You go out, kick the ball around. You got a hungry Virginia Tech team who's going out there and saying, could you imagine what our season would be like if we go out and beat the number 13 team in the country on prime time Sunday on Labor Day weekend? What that would do as we springboard and try to salvage their coach's time. They've got an experienced and athletic quarterback that's going to give us some fits on defense. But we take care of the football, and we get after the passer like we have the capabilities with Dylan Stewart. And I like our chances to win and win big. But if we go out there and kick it around, man, it's going to be a long game where it gets into the fourth quarter where we're having a nail biter. And I'd love getting some young guys some playing game experience, so that way we can move into the South State where everybody's getting reps and then right into play to go.
That is Perry Orth. If you tune in on Wednesdays for Steven Garcia, he will be on Thursday this week. You'll have to wait an extra day for cuss words and nudity. On the South Carolina Virginia Tech game, as Perry just kind of pointed out a minute ago, Virginia Tech hears it too. as we all well know. And the Gamecocks have kind of been the story with Lenore Sellers leading into the ball game. The line, it was 8 points in favor of the Gamecocks last night. It is back down to 7.5 this morning. I think I saw one yesterday. Carolina could have got them at 10 or something like that too. But we'll talk to Raphael more about that coming up on Friday. Perry, you mentioned taking care of the football. Lenore's obviously had an issue with that last year, specifically through about the first half of the season. They also had a sack problem. And then the more confident that he got out of a lot of those situations. He coughed up quite a few and got quite a few back as well. What are things that a quarterback can do to work on being secure with the football?
Yeah, it's just practice and being cognizant of it. You don't want to play scared, but it really comes over good habits. It goes after, even in practice, when the play is blown dead and they're tagging you off and letting you go, and they're not, obviously not tackling you or bringing you to the ground. It's always having two hands on the ball, securing it as you get tight and people come around you, versus kind of maybe one hand swinging the ball around. Even when you're doing your rolling out on the run reps and you're on the move, either right or left, making sure you got two hands secure on the football the whole time. Taking the time to do ball security drills, all of those things. There's not a one specific thing. It's just keeping it in the forefront of your mind, doing drills and practice, but then making it a point of emphasis in your own personal development that, hey, I need to take care of the football.
One of the more popular names that will come up, it'll definitely come up on Friday in our previous show, a transfer by way of La Tech and Texas State, Ben Bell. He is an undersized edge rusher for VT, 6'1", 235 pounds. But the kid gets after it. 19 sacks in his career. There's Perry, looking a lot better. Clean, sharp, the whole 9 yards. You were breaking up a little bit on us there.
Yeah,
Perry,
I got kicked out of the room. I'm not sure what happened.
I think Phil kicked you out. Just to kind of try to reboost things there. Phil's a magician. From a preparation standpoint, both tackles who we know Josiah Thompson is going to start. I'm expecting Case and Henry to get the go at right tackle this week. And I know him and Big Tree kind of been going back and forth there. I think Big Tree kind of had the lead. Then Case and Henry said, "Not so fast, my friend," in the words of Lee Corso. But if you're going to be prepared as a tackle, what better way to prepare than going up against Dylan Stewart and throughout camp? No disrespect to any of these other guys. Got it. But Dylan Stewart might be the best edge rusher in college football.
Yeah.
Perry. So, I mean, you talk about let's practice a certain way so the games are easier and this, that, and the other. I don't know how good Ben Bell is going to end up being at Virginia Tech or how these other edge guys down the road. There's no way that these tackles aren't going to be as prepared as they possibly can be for whatever's thrown at them, having to go up against that guy every day.
Yeah, no, that would be brutal to start the game against. And the other thing too, talking about Dylan Stewart, we all know how gifted of a pass rusher he is. He's now, he's increased in age, maturity, strength, ability, but the improvement I'm most looking forward to seeing him in is the run game. How is he going to anchor that edge and really set that edge to keep running backs hitting the A and the B gap where we have most of the traffic, right? That's the defense is all about being gap sound. And when you have somebody that just will refuse to let someone get outside of them, when he's the true edge player, it causes a world and a nightmare of difference. If you look back to what made our defenses so good and when we had Jadeveon Clowney and Chaz Sutton and Devin Taylor, yeah, we were great at rushing the passer. Those were some great defensive lines. But, man, we were so good on setting the edge and funneling things back inside. Where then if you're in a 4-down front, you got 2 defensive tackles and then your backers that are playing in those run gaps too. And it just creates – and then ultimately you get freed up. You get freed up blockers. You get freed up defenders from blockers, I should say, to where they're just making tackles on running backs and not having to shed blocks to make tackles. It makes a whole world of difference. And having elite players like that on the perimeter is just it's big time. It's what great defenses have. I know the Nick Saban, Kirby Smart model is get 3 just dudes on a defensive line that can terrorize the game, so you can drop 8 in coverage and still get pressure and stop the run with those guys. And I think Dylan Stewart is certainly one guy that can do all of those things for our team. And when you're a quarterback going up against somebody that did go up against Myles Garrett, he does live in the back of your head. And you might get rid of the ball too quick just because you might, kind of feel him. And not that you're scared of getting tackled by him, but you know that, hey, if I don't get this ball out, I'm going to get sacked and I'm going to take a negative play. So all of that psyche that goes into it, that alone right there helps a defense and a defensive coordinator call a game, which, I think Clayton White's as good as anybody in college football. And certainly over the last 15 games, he's been one of them.
Rob, you might have a question, but hold on just a second. I want to give Perry a lot of credit on something here. I mentioned this to Shane. We had Shane on about 3 weeks ago, and I point blank asked him, Perry, and phrased it as best as I could, because it's a hard question to ask the head coach of a football team, whether you know him or not. He had to move on from his offensive coordinator, his first one, a couple of years ago. Things weren't working, right? It didn't look good. We had defensive ends throwing picks in the end zone, all kinds of crap going on. And in that same time span, there were some rough days defensively. And we know that. I mean, there were some rough days defensively. You and I have been doing media together for like 8 or 9 years now, like basically right after your playing career ended at South Carolina. We started doing all this stuff. And the one thing I've always been able to say about you is you will be honest about things and you'll stick to it. Whatever you believe. You were the most unpopular guy when it came to having the opinion 2 and 3 years ago that Clayton White was the answer for the South Carolina defense. And you said it every single week. Nobody wanted to believe it. Thank God Shane Beamer believed it himself, not having to listen to you, but he believed it himself, because in the last 16 games, the Gamecocks scoring defense is number 1 in the league. Perry, I mean, he's got this thing where he wants it. And I actually really like the talent. These defensive tackles it's easy to, look at them. Preston Thorne said it yesterday. It's hard to predict these guys to go out and do what that group did last year. I got it, and that's fair. But they are talented. I mean, they came by way of Nick Saban and a 5-star out of College Station, and Nick Barrett's been there for 5 years. We could go through the whole roster, whatever the case is. But the same leader is still coaching them, right? Mm-hmm. In Clayton White. And I just think that the cohesiveness with this staff on that side of the ball under his leadership, and Shane Beamer saying, no, you're my guy, man. I'm not moving on from you. I think that has paid incredible dividends. And maybe they are entering a place where it's kind of plug and play. And, maybe they're not as good, but they're still pretty damn good. And pretty damn good with an offense that can score points will win you a lot of games.
Well, yeah, you nailed it on the head. And I think, JB, like you said, you and I have been doing this, as sad as it is to admit, 9 years now we've been doing media together, whether it started on the radio or the different shows that we've done throughout the years, man. And I try to bring a level of consistency, not for myself, but like if there's a really bad game, I don't get too low. If there's a really good game, I don't get too high. You got to look at the body of work. I think a 4-game sample size gives you enough to make a determination of, hey, this person's got it, they can do it, or they can't. And yeah, we last I think it was 2023, we had a really rough start to the season defensively. We just struggled. But the phrase that always comes to mind, it's like the New York Knicks basketball team would struggle if I was their point guard, right? So if you don't have the right Jimmys and Joes, I'm not saying you have to have an elite roster because good coaches can make up for that. But if you don't have the Jimmys and the Joes for what you want to do and what you have the ability to do, whether it's on defense or offense, it doesn't matter. It's like last year, you remember the first couple of games, how fast was everybody ready to throw Dowell Loggins overboard?
Yeah.
And I kept saying, like, no, guys, like he's got it. Like you see the signs are there. We do some really good things. It's not play call. Right now, we're just young, trying to piece it all together, and you watched it develop week over week. And it's not that I'm the czar of football knowledge, but they gave you flashes of the ability for sparks of really high performance. And I saw that with Coach White and his ability and his lack of ego to find a way versus, well, I'm a 4-3 guy and I'm going to do it this way. If you remember the end of the 2023 season, we went to that 3 down, 3 safety defense. Dude, people couldn't do anything on that. And I don't know the interworkings of how they played it that made them do that, but from a high level, they made a major adjustment. They saw very fast improvement, and he stuck to it. Then he went in and out of that 3 defensive line, and we were 1 score away from beating Clemson, going to a bowl game. That's kind of my. It's the same thing with Lenoris last year. He struggled a little bit throwing the ball early, but again, you saw signs of like, man, this kid's really talented.
Yeah.
When it starts coming together, it's really gonna look special, and I think we got some glimpses of what really special looks like, which is really, really special from him and team. So my hope is that we've taken that next step as a program and we go out and we win in commanding fashion. And not 42-10. I'm not saying we blow the doors off this team. Would I love it? Of course. Do I think that's going to happen? No. Do I think we can win convincingly 28-13, 35-17? Yeah, I think that would be a really good benchmark for somebody that, is, I wouldn't say critical. I would just say more honest than anything. There's not a soul on planet Earth that wants South Carolina to win more than Perry Worth in our family. We want the Gamecocks to win. But, when we come on these shows, we want to call it like it is and be truthful and at least bring valid reasoning and whys as to why I'm saying what I'm saying. I think I'm really, really excited, really intrigued by Clayton White and what he's got with the players and the pieces he has on defense. Secondary, I'm hearing, is long. Linebackers can run sideline to sideline. Defensive line, the rumor is they're not going to take a big step back.
Yeah, I'm with you. Perry, I've heard the same thing. My question with the linebackers, when you get a bunch of young guys like that, and I'm asking you as a quarterback here, when you get a bunch, these guys are young, they might be older age-wise, maybe because they transferred, but from a playing time standpoint, from an experience standpoint, they're all pretty young. And I know that Debo Williams pointed out last week, I think on 107.5 The Game, watch out for Fred Johnson. I'll take Debo Williams' word. I love Debo Williams. The guy is a genius when it comes to being a linebacker and knowing what's going on out there. But my question to you, as a quarterback, you're reading the eyes of linebackers. They're reading the eyes of quarterbacks, right? So, like, linebackers, if they had played a lot, being in the right gaps and things like that, I'll let you take all the football talk from there. That's been kind of one of my major question marks with this team. Got to see it. I don't know. I don't even know if it's a question or a concern. I'm not sure, but just haven't seen it. Know the talent's there, but excited to see, are they in the right place at the right time? Because everybody they had in that room last year essentially was.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think it helps having Clayton White as the linebacker coach. He's one of the best at that position in college football, which is how he ascended so quickly in his career as a coach. But when it comes to young players, man, my belief is simplify it. Make it as absolutely easy as possible for them to just fly around and play football. So it's like, hey, on this play, you have this responsibility. Don't say, okay, if he does this, he does that, he does this, let them go and be athletic, which is going to be more important than them being the guru in the room. You'd rather lose or have people out of position because of a play call than somebody not doing what they were told. That, in my opinion, that's a lot harder on the player to then just convolute their brain with stuff instead of just letting them play. But if you simplify it and you call a play and you say, hey, on this play, you do this, you hit the A gap and the running back busts through the B gap. Right? Well, then you just bad timing. That's football. But you don't want to be going the A gap. You call the linebacker to hit the A gap. He hits the B gap and they hit the A gap and run and score for a touchdown. You're like, what the hell are you doing? This is our play. This is the one thing I gave you. And they come back with this, that, and the other. And their mind is, no. Make it simple. Let them play fast, and you're going to have success.
Can I squeeze in one offensive philosophy question, and then I'll hang up and listen. But yeah, a friend of mine who is a offensive mind and a coach in the state of South Carolina says a lot of times to the offense and to me, forget about our defense. It's our offenses versus their offense. How many times can we score in the amount of possessions that we get. If we get 6 possessions, they get 6 possessions, who's going to score more times? And we have to make sure as an offense that we're going to punch it in every time we touch the ball. First of all, do you agree with that viewpoint? And secondly, if you do, how many, what's the percentage that you're expecting if you're calling it for them to go down the field and score a touchdown? What is reasonable? What's the goal? What's the objective? If, say, you're going to touch the ball 7 times, how many times are we realistically thinking that you need to put it in the end zone?
I've never actually had that question asked before. I think that's an interesting strategy. I think football is a little bit more dynamic than just we get the ball 6 times, they get whoever scores wins, which is obviously the case. But there's, down and distance, there's time clock, there's how much are you winning by, the feel and the flow of the game. But yeah, I think that if you score a touchdown on more than half your possessions in a game, you're going to like the outcome. I think that more than 50%. I think if you get the ball 7 times and you score 4 touchdowns, you might have a field goal or 2 in there. My philosophy has been this way since high school. Since one of my high school coaches told me, and he's like, watch football, watch all the games. If you score more than 28 points, so that would be 29 and more, you score more than 28 points, you in theory should win the game. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen a lot, right? Because if you have a defense that's giving up more than 28 points in a game, or 28 points a game, you've got major issues on defense. So the goal is 28. And typically throughout the football game, certainly at the college level, you're going to get the ball anywhere between 13 times, 9 and 13 possessions. If you go and you score 6 touchdowns in a game, that's 42 points. You're gonna be really, really pleased. So I would say 50% would be a positive benchmark to hit. Obviously, you want to say 100% of the time, not realistic, but yeah, 50% would be positive. But interesting way of a thought process. I haven't heard of that one before.
Thanks, guys. I'm out of here. We'll see you.
Okay, thanks, Rob.
See you in Atlanta.
Yeah, man. See you in Atlanta. And Perry, we're going to let you get out of here too. Just final quick thoughts, if you don't mind, on the ball game. And for folks that need Perry Orth in their insurance lives, how can they find you? Yeah,
LinkedIn, social media, our website, Moultrie Insurance, MoultrieINS.com. Great, easy way to find it. But final thoughts on the game. I like South Carolina to win. I'm going to rock with that 28-13 game. I think that it'll be neck and neck, a 14-10 game at halftime, and we'll score a couple times in the third and early in the fourth to separate. I think the defense is going to surprise some people. I really do mean that. I think Lenoris takes care of the football. We run the ball well. We might not have the fireworks that we all hope for, but give me the Gamecocks 28-13. They cover the spread, and we are on to week 2, but we will have more to talk about that next week.
Yeah, we'll have a lot more to talk about, no doubt. Hey, look, man, thanks for cleaning up your friend's mess. For
the record, it's happened a time or 2, brother.
Yeah. Between you and DeMarco, I'm like, good luck to these guys.
We love him. I hope he's enjoying his time away. But appreciate it, JB. I'm looking forward to chatting about the game next week.
Yeah, I'll be hollering at you this weekend from Atlanta. Thanks for everything, buddy.